Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and in this video we are going to look at the unboxing and very first impressions of the TCL NxtPaper 60 Ultra. Now this is an interesting device to me because unfortunately it is not compatible with all US cell phones. So we're going to hop in and we're going to talk a little bit about that, but we're also going to talk about what I am going to be able to do with this device and the things that I think are very intriguing about it as a device. Without any further ado, let's hop over. You'll see a quick unboxing with some music in the background. Then I'll take you on a quick visual tour of what it looks like, and we will talk a little bit about my first impressions. See you here in a second. All right, everyone. So here we are with the TCL NxtPaper 60 Ultra, and just wanted to show you a little bit about the device and how it works. Right now, I've got this set on the dimmest setting, but I have some natural light here, and this matte texture seems to really be making it hard to get this to show up very much on screen without taking that all the way down. Like I said, to the naked eye right now, I can see this really well, but it's also much dimmer than it's coming through on camera. So I think that's kind of a neat thing about this device is that you don't need a lot of the backlighting, primarily because of that matte texture, I think. But even if, and this is in Kobo, you'll see just how fast this thing moves. It's very quick. I just went back out button, I can go back into my book here and you'll see it's just very, very quick. And then we'll go ahead and we will look at Kindle as well. So let's go ahead and go into Kindle. And you'll see here I have Henry V. And again, I have to keep playing with this brightness feature to make it work correctly. And a lot of that has to do with the apps and the way they're configured. You'll see here, I even turned off the auto brightness and it's still causing a little bit of an adaptive issue with being able to see it. So that's something I'm going to have to look into to be able to film this a little bit better. But what I will tell you is that the responsiveness of this and actually reading with it in the software itself is very, very good. And if I pull this up, you should be able to see that a little bit better as far as the clarity of the text. But now what I would like to talk about, and maybe this will make it a little bit easier to see overall. And when you're reading the text, it gets a little bit cloudy because of the way it's being filmed. But if you look at these images, they're very good and very crisp, like you would expect on an e-reader on a phone. I mean, you're going to get a lot of different things going on. But if we go back out, you're going to see all of the different apps. The screen clarity on this is very good. I like the matte texture a lot, and I actually am really enjoying the writing experience on this device. Now, Do I consider it perfect? No, not by any stretch. And I also haven't gotten used to their pen input and how their notes work and all of the different features. But I do like the pen and how it hides away in the case. And then when you go to write with it, that texture is very good on this. And of course, you're getting an EMR experience. Now, it's not Wacom EMR. I think that if I remember right, Kit said this was a collaboration between them and XP I can't remember if it's XP or Hanvon, but it's a very nice writing experience. It works really well. If I want to move without triggering, I just do a two-finger swipe. And let's just do a little bit of test writing here. So we'll go into our pen, we'll touch here, and we'll just say, hello. This is a test of the writing experience. And it's not really scratchy, but it really feels nice. Now, the pen is small, and I think that's going to be a common thing that we just have to accept on this. It's very much reminiscent of an S Pen. And again, I've got the brightness turned way down trying to get this on camera. So please don't hold it against the device that it looks a little bit bright. I think that's just the limitation of the camera. And I'm trying to figure out the best way here to mitigate that, but I've not really had great success in trying to do that. Even if I take the brightness down like this, it's still causing a little bit of an issue in being able to see it. So I don't know how really to fix that to make that better. But let's go ahead and let's try some of the other EMR pens, and you'll see you get nothing here. So even if I turn that on with a different stylus, I'm not going to get anything from the EMR pens, which is a little bit sad because you would expect that this would be cross compatible, but it's much more, I think, like the S Pen. So there's both book styli. Neither of them are going to work on this. Now it may work with an XP pen. And if it does, I think that would be a big deal and something that would be really useful to have, but we'll just have to see how that works. But the latency is excellent. The writing, the overall writing feel of it is really good. So it does look like my handwriting. And then, of course, you get all of your different tools. So you can go in here, you can change your brush style, you can change your colors. So I can change my color if I want to write in red. Here is red. And it's going to be really nice to be able to do that. You have to remember not to accidentally touch it, obviously, but it works really well. And then we can do a little bit of, let's go ahead and do some green. And there's green. And again, I do apologize that this looks really it looks really dark on the screen. And primarily that's just because I cannot figure out how to get this brightness correct without washing it out on camera. And that's a user error on my end. I think that might be a little bit better, but as you can see, you go up, and I think that is a little bit better, at least here. It's washing out the green quite a bit. But of course, as I increase that brightness to my eye, it's going to look even better, but it's just having trouble with it on the screen here. But otherwise, the apps all work very, very good. I'm not noticing a lot of problems with clarity and quality. You get full Google Play. You can do Google Meet. You can do the Supernote app. I think the biggest thing for me on this phone is going to be testing it once I get it connected to my new phone plan and the internet, and then giving you a deep dive of impressions. But overall, initial thoughts are I like the packaging a lot. I like the way it fits in the hand. I like that it's a little bit bigger screen. I like the matte texture. And quite frankly, if we turn this over now and let's go ahead and unlock it and let's look at the ink modes. So one thing to be aware of these is it has what they call NxtPaper modes. Now, this is not e-ink. I don't want anyone thinking that it is, but it is mimicking that. So for example, you have color e-ink mode. So we'll just go ahead and we'll enter into that, and you'll see what happens here is it makes that a lot more readable. So now let's go ahead and look at our Kindle app and see what that looks like in this mode. So let's go back to Kindle here, and let's pop in and see what that looks like. And let's go back into Henry V. And again, you're still dealing with the brightness issues. So I think that's what I'm seeing is a little bit different than the naked eye, and I'll find out the best way to make this look better for you in a future video when I do the full review, but it's not bad. And so then you can obviously, and let's go into Kobo and just see what Kobo looks like this way as well. Let's go ahead and go up here. Let's go back to Kobo. And Kobo seems to handle that a little bit better, but again, that brightness is going to be an issue no matter what you do. So, but it does look a little bit better on camera this way. And now let's go ahead and take this out really quickly of this mode, and I'll show you the other two modes really quickly. So let's go ahead and go all the way back out, and let's go into the next ink mode. So that was your color paper mode. And now there's ink paper mode. So when I say enter this mode, you're going to see that animation again. And you can turn off the sound, which I've done. And now again, you're going to get that same look and feel to it. And let's pop this out. And to me, Kindle looks a lot more readable this way because it's giving you that contrast setting. It's still a little bright on the screen, but I think that overall it looks quite a bit better, and it really looks good to the naked eye. And then you can go ahead and let's pop back out again and see what that looks like. And I think you'll notice when this switches over, yeah, that color changes the palette a little bit. But let's go ahead and jump back out, and let's jump into their what they call their max ink mode. And that's this one here. And you enter that mode, you say yes, it's going to pop open. And then what this does is it really mimics what they call their distraction-free settings. So the idea is you can only have the apps you see here. There's no swiping back and forth between apps, and you can, look at downloaded books. I do have a few things on here. I'm going to add Kindle. So let me add Kindle really quickly. So we're going to go ahead and add Kindle, and we'll open that up on here, and we'll see. I know I don't want notifications. Again, on screen it's showing is really bright, but to me this looks really good as you hold it up to the screen, and it's very difficult to get that angle just right. But it looks more like that to me, and even a little bit darker, but very much it has a really good contrast to it. And then if you want to put the stylus away, all you have to do is push it in and it'll get caught by a magnet. You see it pop in there. Pretty cool. Again, very nice package, very much something that I think I'm going to enjoy using. And we will get to the full review as soon as I can on this and let you know a little bit more about it. But for now, let's go ahead and hop back over and think about some final reflections here. All right, everybody, welcome back. Thanks for hanging in with this video. It was a little bit, again, kind of all over the place. And I think partially that's because I can't use this as a phone yet. I have reached out to TCL. They've said that this is not compatible with most US carriers. And even though I was able to get a SIM on order from Mint Mobile, which I will be testing this out as a phone, it's not guaranteed that it will work if you use it in the United States. It is compatible in other markets, and they do plan, after CES this year, they've mentioned that they plan on bringing a US version of this phone to market. So I'm very hopeful that I will get that to test out. And until then, I've purchased a plan just to test this out in the short term. I'll probably also try to do that in the Books Palma. But what do I think about this device so far? So far, I really like it. I like the way that it's structured. I like the way that it gives you the different potential modes. I like the idea that it allows you to engage with your material in very purposeful ways. I mean, all of you know I'm very much into the intentional technology component of technology. And you'll notice now on this camera, it's showing as very dim. So if I go back in and I go to that auto brightness setting, you're going to get a much cleaner experience here on the way this looks. And then if I click over to the max e-ink mode, you're going to see that that changes again. And so it's going to pop over and it's going to turn into that max e-ink mode. And let's go back to our Henry V, and you see that a little bit better on this camera angle. And that's primarily because I'm able to hold it a little bit differently than on the top-down shot. But what do I like about this? I like that the stylus, you can carry it with it as long as you buy the case. I like that it feels like a flagship phone, even though it's not technically. TCL has told me that this is going to retail for around $550, which puts it in that mid-tier phone market, but it also has some very good specifications on it as well. It works. It works really well for what I think I would use it for. Now, the fact that I can't put it on my network, the fact that I can't daily drive it as a phone, as my primary phone, that's going to cause me a bit of an issue. The next generation, if it's compatible, I am going to try to actually replace my Samsung phone and be able to daily drive that phone to let you all know what that looks like. But in the meantime, I'll download the rest of my apps on here. I'll put the Supernote app through its paces. I will look at it on how I can use it for books, how I can use it for reading, how I can use it for content consumption, and really kind of get more used to the stylus. Early impressions, I like the stylus. It's a little small, but it's doable. I don't like that it's not fully compatible with other EMR styli. I think that's a huge miss. I wish they would have allowed that connectivity so that I could use my book stylus or I could use my Norris Digital Jumbo. Again, each to their own, but to me, that's a big deal. But overall, as a phone, I think that it looks like it's very promising. And I love the idea of this intentional different modes. Now, is it e-ink? No. Is it exactly, or is it going to really give you that full experience? No. But is it easier on your eyes? It appears to be. Does it mimic e-ink? Yes, it does, while still allowing you to have some of those benefits. We'll just see what it shakes out and how it ends up in the long term. But as always, thank you all so much for liking the videos, subscribing to the videos, being here, being active in the community. Please add your comments down below. Thank you as always to my patrons and my YouTube insiders. You all are fabulous and you help keep me able to do the work that I'm doing here. Until next time, thank you all so much. Let me know what you think and keep on moving forward. I will talk to you soon and have a great day. Bye now.